Draft season is upon us, and as always, the most intriguing position is the quarterback. Now, we've got some teams at the top of the draft, like the Commanders and the Bears, who we know are picking quarterback, who we know are taking Drake May, Jayden Daniels, or Caleb Williams. Probably May or Williams. But after that, things get a little bit more interesting. There's a bit more confusion about what teams will do, if they'll trade up, if they'll trade back, if they'll take a star wide receiver, or if they will select their hopeful franchise savior. So we're going to talk about some of the possibilities we could see happen in draft season, about which team should and shouldn't move up. Obviously, we have no clue what's going to happen. This is merely guesswork and what we think these teams should do.
You might have no clue.
You are a nitwit and a knuckle-dragging Neanderthal. Stay quiet while I'm talking. Delete that. Starting things off, the New England Patriots. And I view the Patriots as I view many teams I'm going to talk about today. They can draft a quarterback. It's not going to change anything. They have a bad offensive line. They have no quality skill players. Aside from one maybe decent running back, their offense is a complete joke. They've got a first-year head coach, and I don't think you could put anyone in that situation. Maybe you can get someone who can roll out of the pocket like Williams or May, but they're probably not going to be there at 3. So you're going to have to either take Jayden Daniels, a 25-year-old rookie, or JJ McCarthy and stick him in a dysfunctional system. And I think all 4 of those guys I mentioned would fail completely if put on the Patriots. I think the Patriots need to build their team, whether that be through drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. here, which would be a great move, solidify that position for the next decade, or by trading back, getting more picks, and building out their roster a little bit more, as well as in free agency. The Patriots should not draft a quarterback.
Well, if they feel very strongly about Jayden Daniels and they feel strongly about their evaluation of him through the combine, through the interview process, then I think that's a quarterback. If you're the Patriots, you have to draft. But if they don't, like you said, I agree with a lot of things. I don't think it's the best situation for any young quarterback to go to that may have some flaws and need to work on their game. They don't exactly have electric weapons on the outside. The offensive line is not all that great. You have a new head coach who comes from the Belichick tree. Even though it's, technically still the Patriots, we haven't seen a coach be extremely successful coming from under Belichick. So with that being said, I think a perfect world scenario, if they don't feel great about a quarterback available, is they take Marvin Harrison at 3. People are going to hate on this take, but I think maybe do you give Mac Jones another chance? Because whatever happened under Belichick, we saw he was solid during his rookie year, and he fell completely apart emotionally on the field. He looked like he forgot how to play the quarterback position. So maybe there's some rebuilding you can do there with Marvin Harrison and adding some more weapons in offensive line. I'll let you speak because you seem to...
I don't care what the solution is. It just can't be Mac Jones. You can't mentally unscrew up what they've done to that kid. He can go be a backup, mentally rehab his image somewhere else, but I don't think him once again having to try and fill in for the greatest quarterback of all time who got cheated on by his ex-wife is going to be a successful situation in Foxborough. I think it is just something which won't work in the future. Mac Jones cannot be the Patriots quarterback. If you want to do that though, again, why not just trade down, get an offensive lineman and a wide receiver? Because you can get multiple first-round picks at number 3 overall pick. Someone is going to fall in love with JJ or Jayden Daniels and say, oh, I need to get him. I will trade up to have the ability to select whichever quarterback I want. You will be able to get a lot with that number 3 overall pick. Particularly if Drake May somehow slips past the Commanders, if they fall in love with Jayden Daniels. If Drake May is available at 3, I'd consider drafting him, but you could also get a king's ransom for him.
And that would be another scenario where if you're at 3, and let's say Drake May and Caleb Williams are off the board at 1 and 2, and there's a team like the Giants, who we'll speak about in a moment, picking at 6, and they desperately want Jayden Daniels, that's a perfect world scenario because they have so many holes on that offense with a new young head coach. They trade back to 6. They're still able to get someone like Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze. They're not getting Marvin Harrison at that point, but it would allow them to build for the future. Maybe, again, with the draft capital they just acquired for a team to move up to get a quarterback, they trade back up into the first round to get someone like JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, or whoever they feel very strongly about in the middle to back half of the first round.
I'm getting the sense that JJ McCarthy is probably not going to be there middle of the first round, but we can talk about that later. You mentioned them. The Giants, I have many of the same criticisms. They have a dysfunctional offensive line. Maybe Andrew Thomas is good. He's had 1 season of elite production, has either been terrible or injured every other year. Rest of the O-line stinks. You've got no real weapons. I know you're in love with Jalen Hyde. He had like the 12th most receiving yards among rookie receivers last year. He's maybe their number 1 option. Like, who are they throwing to it? Darren Waller is going to be hurt in 5 games. This is a horrible situation for a young quarterback. And at 6, I really don't think they're going to have many options. They're going to have to trade up, losing out on potential draft capital in the future, which will be very valuable, kind of like what the Panthers did, honestly. And you're going to get a quarterback who, same with, I've already mentioned, I don't want to reiterate my points over and over again. Jayden Daniels is who they'd be going after, I think. And Jayden Daniels will be a great NFL player if he can get a functional O-line and someone who can go deep in front of him. Because if he can have a line which opens up rushing lanes out of a pocket, he will be able to run like he did in college in the NFL. And if he is a deep threat, he will always be able to find them. Giants have neither of those things. There are going to be no rushing lanes. There's no deep threat. There's no chance. Like, you will set whoever you draft up for absolute failure if you are the Giants' day quarterback. Trade the pick or build something else. There are better tackles, edge rushers. There are positions all over this draft. Cornerbacks of value, which you can take with the 6th overall pick. It just shouldn't be a quarterback. If it's a quarterback, they're going to fail.
The issue with the Giants and quarterback and the way their roster is currently constructed is someone you mentioned earlier, JJ McCarthy. He's going to be someone that's probably there at 6. We don't think Jayden Daniels is going to fall out of the top 5. At least I don't think that. And when it comes to trading up, logically, it makes 0 sense. You have Daniel Jones, who counts $47 million against the cap this year. If you cut him next season, he's going to count $22 million in dead cap. So you have that contract on your books with a quarterback who's constantly injured, and we've seen Daniel Jones fail time and time again on a roster, an offense that doesn't have all that much talent. Will they get a deal done with Saquon Barkley? That is yet to be seen. At receiver, it's a bunch of number 2s and worse. At tight end, you have Darren Waller, who's the highest paid tight end in the NFL, but at this point in his career, he has 2 good games a season, then he pulls his hamstring and he's out for 3, then he'll maybe have 3 mediocre games. He's not the same player he was earlier in his career. So to put a young quarterback like JJ McCarthy into that system at 6, I think it's a little bit rich for my blood. I like JJ McCarthy.
Rich for my blood. That is interesting phrasing there. Go ahead. I'm too sophisticated to take a quarterback at 6, thank you, sir.
No, taking that type of quarterback at 6 with the current situation they have. If Jayden Daniels falls in that at 6, I think that it would be a much better selection. But the idea that they would trade up, giving Daniel Jones' contract situation, the way it's being discussed, I know it's been thrown out there on various shows, I don't see that happening.
You must legitimately hate Jayden Daniels if you're wishing him falling to 6 and getting drafted by the Giants. You're also a Caleb Williams guy, right? That's your quarterback 1.
I guess so.
There is no situation in the NFL where I am more sure that a player will fail if Caleb Williams goes to the Giants. And this is not some criticism of Caleb Williams. He's one of my top 3 quarterbacks. It's all fluctual up there. But bad offensive line, bad weapons, and the brutal New York media, which hyperfixates and criticizes any young player who screws up a little, any player who brings national attention to themselves for anything not related to football.
There is no shot the Bears are trading away from Caleb Williams.
I don't know, man. I hear good things about Justin Fields. Speaking of Justin Fields, though, a potential landing spot for him, the Atlanta Falcons, and I would definitely draft a quarterback instead of taking Justin Fields. Hold on to that pick. Just get a young player who we have no knowledge of in the league about over what we've seen from Fields. The only reason I don't think the Falcons are going to draft a quarterback, I think they're going to go after someone in free agency first. I think they would like a veteran signal caller who can capitalize on that offensive line, on that running game, on those elite receiving threats, rather than some young guy who is completely unproven. They have just had to deal with a young quarterback who is completely unproven. They don't feel like flipping that coin again. What, Desmond Ridder was proven somehow?
No, he was unproven, but we're not talking about a first-round top 10 pick. I think the Falcons are in the perfect situation. What you just mentioned, great offensive line. They have weapons. They have Bijan Robinson, elite running back. They have Tyler Algier, who's a very good second running back to fill in when Bijan Robinson's not on the field. So you have the offensive line. You have the weapons for a young quarterback to throw to. They're picking at 8. If they feel great about JJ McCarthy or someone else, fine, pick there, but I think they're in a perfect situation to trade up with the talent they have on their roster to go up to 3, trade with the Patriots, go select Jayden Daniels, and give him an opportunity to play behind an excellent offensive line. You get a young athletic quarterback like Justin Fields on a rookie contract that gets plenty of weapons to throw to. I think the Falcons are potentially the best trade-up candidate, because when we talk about other teams that might trade up, like the Vikings or Broncos, they're a few picks back, and it's going to take more draft capital to get up to with the Patriots at 3.
Well, any team which is trading out is trading for a similar amount. I think it's a question of how many first-round picks the Vikings have to give up. I don't think it'd be that many, but you say that, and I kind of agree it's a good situation, still doesn't change the fact the Falcons just had to sit and watch a young quarterback struggle and fail that system. We can talk about generational talent this, freak athlete that. Being generous, it's a maybe 60% chance these guys work out in the NFL. 40% of the time you take a quarterback this early, higher than that even. You looked into this yourself, what? 33% of
most of the time it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out. You don't think the Falcons know that? You don't think they're thinking to themselves, okay, we either have this pre-built offensive system, which we have done a great job of constructing, and we kind of need to capitalize on that now. Do we A, want to take a quarterback who's going to need time to develop, or B, feel like risking again and getting another dud and completely blowing this opportunity? I don't really think they do. I could be wrong. They may say, hey, youth movement, we want all these young talented players together. Fine. They can do that if they want. I just think there's some hesitation there, particularly with a first-year head coach, to say maybe we just get someone who we're a bit more confident, who we know can throw at the NFL level.
I can see that, but why not swing for the fences when you have all that young talent that you can put around him? You're going to be able to sign veteran talent because all your talent is still on rookie deals. I mean, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, your quarterback would be on a rookie contract. That is going to give you money to spend elsewhere when you have the luxury. It's going to give you money to build your defense. So I think there is...
It also puts a hard number on your window because once those guys' contracts start becoming due and you've spent all this money on your defense, if you haven't won your first 3 years of that window here with a rookie quarterback, with a young quarterback, which is hard to do, you're kind of screwed because then you're going to have to pay 5 people at once massive contracts.
I feel like that logic's a little broken because at the end of the day, you still want to draft great players. What, you think these players they should look to draft bad players so they don't have to pay them in the future?
No, I think they should bring in a veteran so they don't have to deal with all those contracts coming due at once and take the risk that, hey, even if this does work out, our window's only this big. If we draft a veteran, A, we know what we're getting, and B, if he does work out, we can extend him probably for a bit of a discount considering he'll be getting older, or B, if he doesn't work out, we can go find another quarterback, whether it be a veteran or a rookie.
Well,
there will be other Jayden Daniels in the future drafts.
Not all the contracts are hitting at once because Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Jayden Daniels, all different draft classes, so they would all hit at different years. And we just saw the largest jump in salary cap, and the salary cap increases every year. So I don't think that's something the Falcons are truly thinking of.
If you don't think they're thinking about everything, I got some bad news for you about how the NFL front offices work. It may factor into the decision making. You're being a little dismissive of it. I think they go get a veteran. Having said that, this is the perfect system for JJ McCarthy. Great offensive line, great weapons, great runner game. It's Michigan all over again, except without the defense. Just so we don't talk about the Falcons forever, moving on to the Broncos, I think they should try and go up and get a quarterback, maybe stick where they're at. I don't know if that's going to be a veteran guy. A veteran guy is a funny thing to say about college. You like Bo Nix, who's been in the SEC and the Big 12, excuse me. Oregon's now in the Big 10. I kind of think that should be the move they make if they want to go out and get a quarterback. I think Sean Payton has a very limited patience, and he would rather have someone with a bit more hair in their chest, a bit more experience at the quarterback position, who knows all the timings, who has played more games. And JJ McCarthy could be a fine system quarterback, will need time to develop into a truly great quarterback. I don't think Sean Payton wants to spend the time doing that. I think he wants to move off Russ and either get Penix or Bo Nix. Maybe they trade back to do it, but I do think they should draft a quarterback.
I'm for them drafting a quarterback. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I do think what is a horrible idea, and it's been thrown out in the media a bunch, and I don't know how seriously the Broncos are actually considering it. Their team, or if you're considering trading up, bad idea, because it's going to take multiple firsts in order to do it, because they'd probably be looking to maybe jump up 5 or 6 spots if they feel strongly about.
Could just throw in Russell Wilson. Haven't considered that.
I feel like you would need to include more first-round picks if you're throwing in Russell Wilson.
I don't know, man. Do you stick Russell Wilson on the Patriots, give him that first-round pick? That probably happens. I could see that.
That's not happening.
Stranger things have happened.
But it would take a significant amount of, it'd probably take this year's first, this year's second, next year's first, just to jump up middle of the top 10, because maybe you want to jump a few teams that you feel like might jump you for someone like JJ McCarthy, who I think is going to fly up draft boards come combine, and that's just a bad decision. I mean, they mortgaged their future for Russell Wilson. Now they finally have a first-round pick again, and now you're going to trade the more future for another quarterback who, if they don't work out, it's going to hurt your ability to continue building your roster, or with a head coach that is going to be a future is going to be a Hall of Famer. It's not a recipe for success to trade up. I think they probably will draft a quarterback, but if they trade up, I don't think it's a good idea.
Depending on what they can give and what they can receive. I do think they need a quarterback, though. Minnesota Vikings.
Woohoo!
Woo. Finally get to a good team. But Here's the deal. They're picking at 11. Odds are there are going to be enough good edge players, maybe a high-level cornerback still available there. I'm sure there will be. Maybe Turner, maybe Verse, maybe Chop. Chop will definitely be available. Who knows? I'm kind of the opinion that they should stick at this pick and survey the lay of the land. Obviously, we don't know what they're doing with Kirk Cousins yet. They might extend him, they might not. We don't know what they're doing with Justin Jefferson yet. They might trade him, they might not. They're saying they don't want to. They've said that about players in the past and still shipped them off. There is no clear direction the Vikings are going, and they need to make one move before I can speak with certainty. If they extend Justin Jefferson and don't extend Kirk, draft a quarterback, draft JJ. And even if you extend Kirk and you pay Justin Jefferson, I'd still maybe be inclined to draft JJ McCarthy if he's available, just so he can get that extra year of experience and sit behind Kirk. Because remember, he is a year younger than Caleb Williams and Drake May. He's the youngest quarterback in the class. Don't really think that's going to happen. I think they're going to draft a defensive player here. What they should do, who knows?
What they should do. Are you ready for the spicy take? Because I have one for you.
Yeah, they should trade up and draft Drake May.
They should do something like that because they are in a perfect position. They have all the pieces on offense. They have offensive tackles. They have the best receiver in the NFL. They have Jordan Addison, who was second best rookie wide receiver last year behind Puka Nacua.
I'd say better than Puka. He just didn't have Matthew Stafford force-feeding him the ball 30 times a game.
Hater energy.
I'll hate Puka.
They had TJ Hawkinson, who with Travis Kelce maybe taking a step back. Is he the best, at least regular season tight end in the NFL? I'll have to see who comes back from that injury. They have TJ Hawkinson. Running back position, a little iffy. Not the best, but trade your future. They have Kevin O'Connell, who has proven to be an excellent young head coach, an excellent offensive mind. Give him a young rookie quarterback on a rookie deal that he can go out and put up historic numbers on the offensive side of the football. Go up, call the Bears, see what the price tag is for Caleb Williams. Call the Commanders, see what the price tag is for Drake May. If that's too rich for their blood, go up, trade with the Patriots, get Jayden Daniels, give him weapons to throw to. We saw what he did at LSU with Malik Neighbors and I can't think of the other receiver's name right now. But he excelled at LSU with excellent receivers. Think of what he would do on the Vikings with KOC calling plays. The Vikings need to trade up.
Johnny Manziel excelled at Texas A&M with excellent receivers and an offensive line which could open up running lanes. Didn't quite work out in the NFL. College success is not indicative of professional success. I know it's different situations. If they want to trade up, fine. Trade up and draft Drake May at 2. The Bears are never going to give the Minnesota Vikings the first overall pick. It's just not going to happen. They're not sending a potential generational quarterback in division to a hated rival. It's not. There's no chance. The only team which really trades readily in division with everyone is the Detroit Lions. And Brad Holmes plays chess, not checkers. But that's not happening. Maybe the Commanders do it, maybe not. I don't know. The last time the Vikings drafted a white quarterback in the first round, it did not go well. I'm thinking, of course, of Minnesota legend Christian Ponder with that. Good times. Good times. Anyway, Oakland Raiders. Yes, they should draft a quarterback. Yes, Aiden O'Connell is not the man. I know that certain people had him number 1 on their draft boards last year. He's not the answer. He had a few good games, cooked the Chargers. Big whoop. I don't know if you trade up or draft Michael Penix. I kind of think Michael Penix is a good fit here just because you've got Devontae Adams. Presumably, you'll be able to put someone who can go on the outside next to him, whether that be in free agency or the draft. We know Oakland's rich history with speedy receivers, and we go with that. I think that's the direction they should go in. I don't think it's worth it for them to trade all the way up to get a Williams, get a May, get a Daniels even. I don't think Daniels would be particularly successful in Oakland or in Vegas, but
it depends on what quarterbacks are still on the board at 13 because I could see a bunch of them flying off within the top 10 if teams get quarterback happy and they see the running quarterbacks and they want to go get their guy. And I don't think they're really in a position to trade up for one with all the holes they have on their roster. And at 13, I feel like they might not draft a quarterback because with Antonio Pierce stepping in as a head coach, a coach that players on that roster love, and he showed the ability to win games with Aiden O'Connell, I could see them looking to use the 13th overall pick to build their roster, build that offensive line, build that defense potentially, maybe get another weapon for Aiden O'Connell to throw to, and ride out Aiden O'Connell one more year, or maybe they wait for the second or third round to draft the quarterback who they think can step in there and be more successful than Aiden O'Connell. I think there's a chance the Raiders don't pick a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah, that's where the Penix take's coming from there. Like, he's not going off the board in the top half of the first round. National championship game and injury history guaranteed that. I kind of think you spend a second rounder if it's available. If it's someone you really like, that's where you draft the quarterback. If you want to go with Aiden O'Connell, by all means. But I'm not that passionate about it. They shouldn't trade up.
Do you want to talk about the Steelers?
Not really. The Steelers are a mess. They are fighting internally whether they want Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph to be their starting quarterback. Justin Fields might roll up in town. I don't feel like talking about the Steelers. The Steelers are a poverty franchise who is blessed with two historic quarterbacks and have not done anything besides those two legends. Anyway, you got anything you want to add to that?
I just don't see them picking a rookie quarterback. Maybe they add a veteran quarterback to that mix, but after just drafting Kenny Pickett, having Mason Rudolph step up and succeed last year, having two quarterbacks that I would maybe say are functional starters with a big asterisk next to that.
Yeah, the way that functional came out tells me all I need to know. Sign someone else, man, or just tank. Give up the 500-win season and just tank. Those were our thoughts. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Should the Minnesota Vikings trade up and draft Spencer Rattler? Should the Bears trade back and draft Bo Nix 9th overall? Let us know what you think in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe if you're still here, and we'll see you in the next video.